A new chapter might be about to open in Arsenal's storybook, and at the centre of it is a 15-year-old named Max Dowman. In a sport that often measures greatness in years and trophies, the idea that a teenager could step onto Europe's grandest club stage and etch his name into the record books feels like a lightning strike, sudden, bright, and impossible to ignore. Dowman's rise has been as swift as it is polite, coming through the academy, seizing minutes when they arrive, convincing coaches not with headlines but with consistent, composed performances that make it harder and harder to keep him on the sidelines. The real question isn't whether he has talent, it's whether Arsenal will write him into the kind of moment future generations will point to when discussing how clubs handle elite youth. If he appears in a Champions League match this season, he would become the youngest player ever to feature in the competition. A statistical leap that would eclipse notable milestones set by high-profile teenagers across Europe and place Dowman in a very rarefied conversation about precocious footballers who were trusted on the biggest nights. That kind of trust doesn't come out of nowhere. It arrives because a manager, in this case Mikel Arteta, has watched a player in training, weighed the tactical demands of a fixture, and decided that the balance of risk and reward leans toward imagination over caution. For Arteta, who has been praised for integrating young talent while protecting long-term careers, the decision is both tactical and parental. Is the club better served by shielding Dowman's development behind staged debuts or by accelerating his exposure to pressure and learning at full speed? There are arguments on both sides. Letting him into a Champions League game could be the very thing that explodes his confidence, proving to him and the world that his pathway isn't a slow drip but a rocket. It would also hand Arsenal an immediate headline and bolster the academy's global reputation, a tangible signal that youth development here is not just talk but production. On the flip side, the stakes are enormous. A single difficult outing under that incandescent spotlight could alter public perception, bring media scrutiny and social media noise, and create psychological pressures that are out of proportion for someone still finding their feet. That's why clubs and fans argue in extremes, protect or propel, and why every selection becomes part sporting decision, part moral judgment. Beyond the immediate drama lies a deeper shift. European clubs have been wrestling with the calculus of teenage integration for years. How early to push, how much to curate, which competitions are safe proving grounds, and which demand seasoned heads. A successful Dowman cameo would nudge the needle, not by itself, but as evidence in a broader conversation, that top teams can win by trusting teenage intelligence, not just veteran muscle. If Arsenal do unleash him, pundits and rivals will pass the move as either masterstroke or folly. But for Dowman, it's painfully simple. A chance to play, to learn, to become. His story is also a mirror for what academies sell to parents and fans: hope, opportunity, and the promise that talent will be met with chances, not just promises. For supporters, the moment is electric. Some will cheer for the audacity of youth, others will worry the club is gambling on a symbol instead of stabilising performance. Either way, the conversation reveals more than one club's instincts. It reveals football's appetite for stories, for records, and for moments that feel larger than a match. Tonight, when squad lists are finalised and tents of speculation fold into the truth, football watchers will see whether Arsenal chooses to protect a gift or to let it fly. The consequence will ripple, a new line in the record books if Dowman plays, a lesson in restraint if he doesn't, and a reminder that the decisions clubs make about teenagers now are the histories fans read later. Whatever happens, Max Dowman's name has already arrived in the conversation about youth, trust and risk at the highest level, and that alone signals a changing landscape where the next generation is no longer waiting politely at the gate, but asking to be let in.